Week 2, North America is finally here and it's about to get underway. Smite Pro League back in action, live on Mixer as always. And the lovely Melissa Posada, otherwise known as Taco, joining me. How are you?
I'm having a fantastic day, but even more so because of the fact that I'm really excited for these sets that are about to happen.
Definitely some good sets today. First thing I want to tell you about is a little bit about Mixer. If you don't know about it and you're just tuning in for the first time, it's got some fantastic little features for you guys at home. Co-streaming, we can have up to 4 streams and we'll be utilizing a bit of that today. Interactivity, as well as faster than light technology, which is great for interacting with your chat. And it's pretty simple if you've got a Microsoft product. Yeah. After that, though, let's have a look at the format of the SPL as a whole. If you don't know about the SPL, it's the Pro League where we see Europe and North America compete over the course of a whole year. This is what it looks like across this split. 6 weeks of competition, double round format, and best of 3 matches is my favorite thing there, Taco.
And of course, you've got the separation of North American matches on Wednesday and Friday, and then you're seeing EU on Tuesday, Thursday. And not to mention, that isn't the end of everything, however. There's going to be 3 splits, all leading up to the Gauntlet, and then, of course, the Smite Masters with the Summer Finals.
And not only that, Smite All-Stars will be available with group stages and finally rounding out the year with a World Championship like we always do. And of course, these players are playing for thousands upon thousands of dollars. 30,000 salary for all these players throughout the year, but LAN performances, Taco, that's where they make bigger bucks.
It's just more money all around, no matter which way you cut it, and those who are at the top get rewarded even further. So, of course, you can kind of expect the best of the best out of these SPL players.
Yeah, and we'll see how they do today. Let's have a look at the EU standings, first of all. EU started off yesterday in week 2, and Europe had a very interesting day for themselves, as you can see there. Right at the top, Team Dignitas now, the only undefeated Team Taco in the league.
And it's pretty nuts when you think about it, because Dignitas, I believe, with their next matchup could have a lot of possibility to see whether or not they're going to maintain that #1 spot. And, of course, still some growth potential, I would say, between the rest of the scene. Right now, really only Dig and Rival having separated themselves so far, but you can kind of expect the rest to catch up.
Enough of EU, though. Let's get on to today. North America is what it's all about today on a Wednesday. The standings so far coming into today, CLG and Space Station tied it 2 apiece on top. At the bottom, Trifecta and eUnited.
And again, I'll think that Luminosity may have taken some people by surprise, as they're currently still sitting with their 1 victory. Granted, they've only played 1 set, but this is still prime time opportunity for the rookie roster, is I think is still a fitting term for the members of Luminosity to continue to show that they aren't just a pickup group.
And that's a big thing about it. I mean, individually, they could be quite good. But for you guys at home, if you want to get involved and you want to get more involved in the Pro League, it can help you out in Game 2 by looking at picking up one of your favorite team's badges. If you lock in this badge, you'll be able to get bonuses throughout the year towards FP, which gets some fantastic skins that are available and continue to come out throughout the year.
I think a lot of people might have gotten the message last time, but you do also get that 700 FP right off the bat, not to mention, like you already said, the 40 additional FP no matter which way the matches are voted. Just for playing Smite, you're going to get each of those bonus FP rounds.
Win-win. Now on to that now today, the schedule as it stands, we're going to get to see eUnited up against Trifecta at the start of the day. Following that, we'll see Spectator Gaming versus CLG. And then there's other matches on Friday, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But what I'm interested in really, Taco, it's the bottom 2 teams of North America versus the top 2 teams of North America in the same day.
And you say bottom 2 teams, but the fun fact about all of this is that there isn't really a bottom team, I would say, in Season 5 for the SPL. All the stiff competition that's happening between these players, because they're all very familiar with each other, and on top of that, they're just incredibly talented. These guys put in a lot of time and effort towards their craft to become the best of the best, and it shows for sure.
Yeah, I will say, Taco, as well. I mean, with LG, I expect them to underperform, but straight away out of the blocks, got themselves that first win, which changed things up in North America here today. And now we get to talk about eUnited, who they lost to.
And
Sorry,
eUnited,
who they beat, I should say.
Exactly. That caught everybody by surprise, I think, when the opening set between those 2 teams, and then eUnited falls short after being the world champions, and it kind of just took everybody by surprise. I think most people kind of just wrote Luminosity off from the get-go, but it's a new season, and with a new season, there's different metas. I think that eUnited, of course, is, even though they had a very successful Season 4, they've already taken more losses than what they did in Season 4, and it's simply because of the fact that a new map, new itemization, new priorities, it really changes things around.
And when you look at it, eUnited, LG lost there, and they lost to Space Station Gaming too. Trifecta, however, also on a losing spree. They lost to CLG and Trifecta themselves. They can't lose to Trifecta, I'm an idiot. Lost to CLG, I should say, and Space Station Gaming so far with how they've gone. So they're in the same sort of deficit here. What do you think about this Trifecta roster?
I think that Trifecta has shown a lot of promise already. I think that even though they've dropped their sets, it wasn't necessarily them not being capable of finding set wins. They would get a win, and then they kind of just seem to encounter a couple of drafting issues.
Sure.
I think that they're not as accustomed to having to focus mostly on the mid and jungle, because that seems to be the main theme here in Season 5. Most of the competitive play is being centralized around the jungle aspect specifically, and so not being able to really rely on Zapman or NeiruMah to have as much impact in a match can really take a bit of a hit towards the overall playstyle of the team.
Yeah, I will say Trifecta, very all-star sort of team, but have to find that gel together. Today, though, we have the interactivity of having multiple streams open for you guys at home. So we get to see today's game. We get to look at it from eUnited's Benji's point of view, as well as the main broadcast. And not only Benji, we'll get to see him in the solo lane. We also get to take a little look at the jungler for Trifecta here today in Mask.
And being able to see both Benji and Mass perspectives, although they're on different teams, it is probably one of the best ways if you are a newer player or even a player that's just looking to learn a little bit more.
Yeah.
You can't get much better information than from watching those guys at their point of view, especially if you're looking towards the jungle and solo lane role specifically. You can learn a lot out of those two players.
Definitely just look at the rotations, look at when they choose to base, what itemization they go for, all those sort of things are very, very useful for you guys at home to really learn the role, especially if there's a god that you want to learn more about. That's kind of how I started out, to be honest. I actually watched a guy called Fats play Bakasura because I saw Bakasura as the first god and I really wanted to learn to play him. Then I realized he was Cheeks, and he still is. Except in ranked. But it's time to move on now to see who will actually get a win in the Pro League for the first time this year, eUnited or Trifecta. Picks and bans are about to begin.
And we've already seen a ton of prevalence in Season 5 towards those gods such as Daji, Sol, Nemesis, Thoth. A lot of different selection choices that teams could really elect to take away from each other. eUnited and Trifecta specifically, you can kind of imagine there to be a lot of emphasis placed towards prioritizing that early jungler selection.
Sure.
So for eUnited having the first pick, I love that they're already eliminating the Daji. Wouldn't be surprised to possibly see a Ravana ban away as well, although considering Mass Godpool and how he doesn't tend to lean towards that, that's kind of where I was going next, is the Rat.
Yeah, Rat off the table, and Nemesis too. No real surprise there. Both Verizial, now known as Screammmmm, could have actually gone for that pick. Has left a couple of options available though, and one of those locked in is Ullr here. Ullr kind of fell from grace a little bit, I'd say, Taco. Still very relevant, but he's not like first pick, first ban all the time anymore.
He is mostly based off of what teams are really trying to accomplish. The thing about Ullr is that he can still be a strong god. As an ability stance switcher, you know, it's kind of one of the things that you're looking for. You have the two abilities from level 1, but you also have the concern that Ullr doesn't have that CC immunity from an ultimate or a big team fighting ultimate like some of those other hunters can provide. That's kind of one of the drawbacks from Ullr in Season 5, since team fighting is so crucial right now, because even one misstep, especially at a competitive level, and you're automatically done with that fight.
Well, you saw Trifecta respawn with Sol and Cerberus very quickly. Sol, someone that can go mid, go to the Hunter, rotating a little bit more towards the Hunter. Chulainn and Camazotz. So we're going to see that Camazotz more than likely in the jungle position. Trifecta respawn with the Ravana, which we've seen a lot in the jungle position this year so far too.
Initial impression, looking at both of these drafts and the three guys they have selected, it feels as though Trifecta is kind of going with more of a dive composition just because of that Ravana having a little bit more leeway to freely go into a backline. But I like also the kind of frontline tankiness he can provide.
Wow.
Except this is a pick that I was kind of hoping would get through. Eventually, Habwa is really going to be making a splash, I think, in this match.
Like, great. Terrible pun. But, however, the one thing about the Hebo here, I think it's very situational of when you can pick it too, Taco. And this comp that Trifecta have drafted does spell it should be okay for Hebo here. He's not too worried other than the Ravana that's going to be the one diving into the backline. Although Sobek will be looking for those plucks as often as possible. We're expecting Sobek or Cerberus in the support role.
Probably Sobek in the solo lane to fare a little bit better against the Chulainn, although I think that Cerberus support isn't as strong as what Cerberus can be in the solo lane, but Trifecta might feel it up to be a little bit safer just having that Sobek Chulainn matchup.
Very, very interesting matchup today between the two. It's time though, Tackle, before I pass it over to the casters, who are you voting for here?
eUnited has a lot of burst, but I think Trifecta has better survivability. I can see eUnited taking this one home, though.
I'm going to go against you. I think Trifecta's going to get this. I think Hebo's going to have a terrible time. Let's find out what the casters think. It's John Finch and Ryan Bailey.
Thank you, Hindu and Taco. It is Finch, and I do have Aggro here with me as well. We're going to be looking at eUnited versus Trifecta, and someone's got to win here. These two teams haven't got off to the best start, but someone's going to look a lot better after this.
I mean, Trifecta kind of had some tougher matchups and was very, very close to finding both set wins, basically, against CLG and Space Station. eUnited, though, very surprising to see them at that 0-2 mark. Also pretty surprising if you would have told anyone at the beginning of the year, yeah, eUnited is going to start out 0-2, and oh, by the way, here's the draft they get against Trifecta, because Habwa was permabanned in the beginning of this season. Ullr, Camazotz, and Chulainn have all been priority picks, so this is a team composition for eUnited that is one of those things where at the beginning of the year, no chance they're able to grab these 4 gods. Now, it's kind of changed up a little bit. You know, the Dodgies, the Thoths, those have kind of taken over as the primary bans. So eUnited's able to take advantage.
Well, it sounds like Ryan's feeling good about this eUnited draft. What about you all at home? Who do you think's going to win there, Mixer Chat? I want to hear your opinions on this. Make sure you're voting in the polls so we can see, just how much y'all know about Smite, or if you just like to vote for PBM. Who knows?
Yeah, Finch may be interested, but I don't really need to know, to be honest. You can just keep it to Finch.
Only tell me, tell him. Chat. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't need to know.
Aggro didn't laugh at my Hebo joke before we came on, so what does he know?
Do you want to?
Do you want to repeat it? Do
you want to repeat it?
I'm happy to.
Go for it. Please.
I was gonna say, chat. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's dive into this Habwa pick, everybody.
I'm gonna be honest, Finch. I didn't really get it. I didn't laugh because I didn't get it. Could you explain it to me real quick?
Well, he's like a water guy.
He's a water guy.
Yeah.
He brings you water?
He has like an atlas of the Yellow River,
Uh-huh. Okay.
Lots of extra water. You want to dive into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now that I understand it, it's even less funny than before.
It's not going to be funny for Metyankey, though, trying to go up against this Habwa in mid lane. A lot of pressure this pick can bring. It's going to be a lot on Mask, I think, here, though, to try and slow that down. We've seen this Ravana jungle do really, really well, building almost entirely damage.
Yeah, exactly. Assassin itemization is just really, really good right now, and Ravana can abuse those items while still staying safe enough with the mobility that he has in his kit, as well as the safety between the CC and damage immune overhead kick, and of course the extra protections, or damage mitigations I should say, that he gets during the Mystic Rush as well. But Habwa's an interesting pick here because it's usually one of those priority picks against Nemesis, even before it was really thought of as a real viable pick in the mid lane in Season 5. Nemesis, because of the slow immunity, you could see that picked there. I mean, on the other side for Trifecta, there are some pretty serious slows. In fact, every single character on Trifecta has a slow that would be nice to get both Habwa and his team out of danger there. So I really think this pick could pay big dividends.
I agree. I think it could certainly work out well for them. Already, though, it's working out well for Metyankey here in the mid lane. Got pressure and has made it over to the red buff and taken that one away for himself. Meanwhile, PandaCat getting poked out over here in the dual lane as Zapman and NeiruMah are the ones who established pressure there. So pressure in both lanes for Trifecta.
I think Mask may have just gone from speed buff all the way. No, he had to have picked up some sort of experience to hit level 2 before he grabbed that purple buff, but basically just ran all the way down the left-hand side. And that's one of those option plays, basically, where if eUnited's duo lane steps up a little bit too far, Mask is going to blink in, hit him with the Prana Onslaught, and find the first blood. But if they're underneath a tower, like they were, instead you can just invade that purple safely.
And Screammm's coming into the mid lane, catching Metyankey in the back, does manage to take that Aegis away from Disapparate to get away. Mask is here, that'll put a little bit of return damage into Scream, but then switches targets onto Venenu, brings them down both half health between Mask and Metyankey. Scream, though, looking to push forward a little bit more. He wants more poke off this and finds onto Metyankey, hits both, and brings him very low.
But, I mean, it's Soul. He's got the tiny trinket. He's got that Radiance as well, which gives you such good sustain in the early game, especially when you're lower health. Remember, that's actually replenishing your health based on how much is missing. So you get a pretty good heal off of that one when you're playing Soul, whether it's in the mid lane or in the duo lane. So Metyankey not too concerned about that poke. Venenu does need to be concerned though, because he's already completely out of potions. Usually you can only pick up 3 with the start that he's gone for, the Mage's Blessing and the Warlock Staff 1. I believe he went for 2 health, 1 mana. Hebo takes up a lot of mana in that early game, so not surprising to see him low on the pool.
68% was the vote in favor of eUnited. Sounds like Mixer Chat very much believes the world champs are going to be able to bounce back here in this set. And you talked about it a little bit already. yes, these two teams are 0-2, but it's not as if they got stomped in all their sets or looked bad or anything like that, as the sprint comes out here in dual lane, forcing PandaCat to jump away. Zapman and NeiruMah continue to push forward. No stun comes out, though, from the Cerberus, so instead, they'll reset here in the lane. But it's not as if these two teams have been getting run all over.
No, specifically, Trifecta has looked really, really good so far in the early season. Their 0-2 record certainly not indicative of how they've performed. Now, eUnited has certainly underperformed. I mean, you're not only one of the favorites in NA, but you're the defending world champions. People expect a little bit more than the 0-2 start. I mean, everyone's going to point to that set against Luminosity, though I think a lot of that was Luminosity getting undervalued compared to maybe eUnited getting overvalued. But either way, it's just below expectations in the performance so far from eUnited. You could ask them across the board, and I'm sure they'd say the same. I really expect it's going to take them a little bit to ramp up that post-Worlds victory hangover. One way or another, I'm sure they're going to be fine. The Springs, if there's a split to struggle, it's the Spring split.
And I always say, when you're the world champs, when you're that card, everyone kind of plays up to you. Venenu going in aggressive. Metyankey is in a lot of trouble. Has the separate form, and Mask is lying in the wings, but Screammm is right here to get first blood. Not a problem at all. Finishes off the soul in mid.
I love that play from Ven. No, he has no chance of finishing off Metyankey by himself, but he knows that Screammm's coming in with Boots 2 finished and a speed buff, and it's going to be an easy cleanup kill for his jungler. Good play by Venenu. It just working together with his jungler.
And it's scary putting first blood onto a Camazotz. Any jungler really here in this season.
No, Scary's playing Sobek.
Any jungler at all, really, it's kind of scary because the junglers, they already are able to be so impactful here in these matches, Ryan. They're the ones that really... Do you really want to go back to that? I feel like you do.
I'm just like...
Is that what's happening?
I just don't want anyone to be confused because Scary is in the solo lane on a Sobek, but he's not a jungler, so... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop. You were going ahead with a full head of steam. I wanted you to just keep on going. I didn't want to halt. I didn't want to pull the handbrake that early on in this one.
Clarify again, though. Scary D, solo laner. Screammm is scary, but not their solo laner.
Correct. He's not Scary D.
Right.
He's just scary.
Leads, though, for these junglers so much more impactful. Zapman, though, taking a good bit of poke from that bladed arrow. PandaCat doing so much damage already on this Ullr pick. Even though it's Zapman who ticked over level 5 first, they're forced to back up after getting a little bit of pressure over there in that dual lane.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a hunter who isn't going to hit level 5 but is still willing to fight, there's none better than Ullr because he gets the least boost from being level 5 out of any hunter because he's a stance switcher. So normally 5 versus 4, the character's level 5 is going to be, way ahead in kill potential. Ullr certainly not the case. PandaCat's just going to be getting extra damage on that axe and the bladed arrow. Whenever he hits level 5, he's just prioritizing leveling up those typical poke or wave clear abilities on your Ullr. And then, I mean, once he hits level 11, that's kind of Ullr's big power spike is when you can finish off putting 5 points in your 1 and your 3 at the same time. Until then, I mean, if he's a level down, it's really not that impactful overall.
A little bit surprised that we saw Screammm able to get that first blood. It was very much, like you said, based off Venenu, but he's the one that's gone the safer route, at least Relics. He's got the Aegis. Mass, though, was the one that picked up that Blink. So usually you see those the ones be a bit more aggressive for those junglers.
A little surprised to see Screammm go for the Aegis, considering, I mean, he's not Ravana level safe with his overhead kick and Mystic Rush, but your leap on Camazotz gives you those immunity frames, can get you out of the ultimate from NeiruMah, the initial hit of Mystic Rush, whatever. And then you've got that Bat Out of Hell, which takes you out of combat for so long. I feel like Screammm probably could have gotten away with Blink, but he'll be able to close the gap regardless.
And he is trying to close the gap right now, and Metyankey wrapping around the back. Instead, sends that damage NeiruMah's way. The poke comes out of Metyankey anyway with a little bit of help from Venenu, and they get him very low. Mass, though, along with Scary D over here in the solo lane, trying to push a little bit further. They've got all the pressure on Benji, who just backs up for the moment, knows they don't really have any real kill potential, and he's able to recover. Now it's NeiruMah who's slowed, stunned, and deleted by Venenu. Finds the second kill of the game, does that mid laner. He's been part of everything so far.
Really good play there by PolarBearMike, setting it up, and NeiruMah just kind of in the wrong spot. Now PBM's in the wrong spot. I like this decision to try and transform to get his jump back, but it's not going to matter. And that's one of those instances where a little bit of miscommunication is actually why PBM falls there. Screammm looking to find a return kill, though, onto Metyankey. It should be able to with his Bat Out of Hell.
He does find it. Able to send him down. Zapman, though, finds PandaCat over the dual lane. No one else is there. That's a solo kill for the Hunter of Trifecta, and he very much needs it. after how some of these other games have gone so far. Slow immunity comes out from the Hopwa. Venenu making the big play to get Screammmmm out of there, who was low on mana, and they're all able to retreat.
Ven rolls out the red carpet for the escape. Nice play there. But going back to how PBM gets picked, Venenu, after the stun on the NeiruMah, Neil's going to be using his ultimate to try and disrupt them, try and make sure that he can stay alive any longer. Ven pulling the trigger on the ultimate, absolutely the right call. PBM has got to know that Ven's pulling the trigger in that situation and doesn't need to use his ultimate, then could have used it to escape. You know, even after that situation, okay, let's say you do use the ultimate. If you're Fafnir, you don't have to try and jump on top of Metyankey with no follow-up around there. That's just a play that it ends up being a little bit sloppy from eUnited, and it costs them a kill. But in the end, as I'm sure PBM was expecting, it just baited Metyankey into allowing Screammmmm to finish him off, all part as planned.
It was very calculated by PolarBearMike, exactly. As you said there, Ryan, no sarcasm in there. But it's very even here. We're about 8.5 minutes of the game right now, 3-2. eUnited have that kill lead, but no real gold or experience lead. That's not too surprising here. These teams, as we've been saying, are so even. Now that we've moved, it's just 6 teams in the league right now. Within each region, each has 6 teams. So the level of competition between them all is so much higher. And even though these are the world champs, I mean, this Trifecta roster is stacked with talent. So no surprise all they've been able to hang with the world champs.
It's been awesome to start off this season. I mean, every team feels really, really competitive. Like I said, the team that everyone kind of thought was going to be less competitive, Luminosity, well, they 2-0'd eUnited pretty convincingly. So I think that kind of went out the window right away. And in this one, Trifecta kind of thought of the other roster that may be fighting for the bottom in North America, though it's tough to say that looking at the names across the way. Clearly not the case, just based... look, 0-2, who cares? They had really, really good games against CLG and Space Station. They really should have won the Space Station set, but a couple really good individual plays from Baskin and some bad objective control from Trifecta is what ultimately lost them that set.
Yeah, and if you, I mean, take a look at it. They went up against the 2 teams that are at the top of the standings right now between CLG and Space Station. So it's potentially just a rough start for them. And because it's the double round robin, they'll get a chance to swing back around with them once they get into the groove. Also trying to get in the groove, though. Here's Mass, does blink around, finds the Piranha Onslaught and Venenu. Sprint's coming out to help him get away. That is going to be enough. Trifecta can no longer chase these kills, but they did bait the sprint.
That's one of those situations where it's just kind of a staring contest. Metyankey getting stared at in the mid lane by Screammmmm, but he misses the last shot there. Now NeiruMah gonna pick him up, throw him in spot, and Mask gonna make him pay for it. Not often you see a Camazotz miss a swoop on Bat Out of Hell, but
especially
Metyanky's
Screammmmm.
Little bit of extra movement speed got him out of range there.
That's too bad. That means instead he's the one that ends up falling, evens up that kill count. And the 2-0-0 jungler that was getting off to a really good start is going to miss out on some farm. Mass now coming to return the favor to Venenu here in the mid lane. Jumping in his NeiruMah, lands the stun. Look at that Cerberus damage. Venenu's feeling it right now. Trifecta doesn't have anything else to follow up with, though, so they have to back up.
Can we actually check and see what NeiruMah's leveling on this Cerberus? Because it looked to me like he actually made an adjustment. Yeah, so most Cerberus supports level the 2, the Ghastly Breath, because that slows down your opposition a ton. It brings CC. It's that prot shred as well, and it's just safe, easy damage, wave clear. You don't have to worry about hitting that very difficult paralyzing spit skill shot. But because Venenu is playing the Hopwa and has the slow immunity and can give it to his teammates, NeiruMah switches it up and goes for the paralyzing spit instead, while harder to hit, hits very, very hard itself, and increases that stun time. Don't know if that's what Neil prefers to level up anyways, but I love the idea into this particular comp to prioritize the stun that won't be affected by the water carpet instead of the Ghastly Breath, which will.
Just about all the farm is down on the map right now. Mid Harpies are up, so that could certainly be a point of contention here, and it looks like Mask is going to clean those up before Screammmmm can rotate over to those. Actually, Trifecta grabbed both of them. Not as valuable as they once were. That used to be one of the end-all, be-alls a few metas ago, but now it's not as big of a deal. In fact, the whole jungle, everything's up so often now, Ryan. There's so much to do on the map that losing 1 or 2 camps doesn't really hurt as much as it used to.
Absolutely. That's why the mid-game has really become, I feel like, the most impactful part, because if you can pick up a team fight win, grab a major objective, and then go ahead and pick up multiple buffs, which are more likely to be up because of how often they respawn, as you mentioned. That feels like the big swing to me in a lot of these games, whereas in previous seasons, like you said, Season 2, you got 60% mid-camp control, you won the game pretty much instantly. You know, Season 3, Season 4, it's the early buff invades. It's controlling those buff invades. If you can control the enemy blue or the enemy speed, you put yourself in a really good chance to win. Now you really have to be on top of either both buffs on one side or one buff on each side, kind of stagger those respawns, and then try and really pressure that out. Otherwise, it's really easy for a team to just give up a couple of buffs here and there, stick in the game, and still be able to make the impact later on.
PolarBearMike was real deep over here on the duo jungle side, does get rooted and gets the damage on the Heavenly Banner on top of it, forcing the Draconic Corruption, but he couldn't jump in time. Mask ends up punishing him for over-aggressing. Scream, though, looking to try and come return the favor on the NeiruMah, forced to go up to the bat out of hell, and gets the kill off with just barely any HP remaining. Mounted Archer going to chase the Blink, going to get him out. Not able to find him, though.
Good play there by Scream. Venenu actually used the ultimate as well, but PandaCat kind of left alone, and Mask will take care of him. What meta are we playing that Mask is going for the Ravana jungle with Bracer of Undoing, something that we haven't seen in a little bit now, but honestly, I love it into the composition from eUnited because Scream could get baited pretty easily by going up into the sky, hit the Bracer for Mask off the burst damage from the 2-1 combo from the Camazotz, heal it all up, and all of a sudden you're safe and sound. Venenu's going to look to knock you up, ult you, and then turn around and hit the 1 as you land, but pop the Bracer before that goes off, and probably able to survive that engagement as well. I love this Bracer pickup on Ravana, especially when you upgrade it and you get those cooldown reductions. Now you're getting that overhead kickback faster than someone thinks you might, or you know, an extra cooldown of Prana Onslaught because that cooldown is fairly low as well. I think it's a great pickup here for Mask.
Yeah, it's a very burst heavy comp here between PandaCat, Venenu, and Scream. So I think you're right that it'll work. And
even PandaCat, I mean, it's
sure.
axe stun into 3-1 combo.
Yeah.
Bracer, you know, most of that gone. Now, I want to see United recognize that this could be very potent against them and itemize into some anti-heal. Go for the Divine Ruin if you're Venenu, Brawler's Beat Stick if you're Scream. You've already got Metyankey going to have some healing, Scary D's going to have some healing, Zapman's gone for Devourer's Gauntlet, so anti-heal should be the next item on everybody's docket, basically.
There's some recognition of it. Looks like Benji did pick up Pestilence, so that'll be working a little bit in their favor. I want to talk a little bit about PandaCat. We saw him get caught out at the end of that last fight. Zapman's built a nice lead for himself, at least a level and a half or so, if not 2 levels. I need to be able to get over PandaCat in that duo lane, and it was Mask who came over and helped finish that one off, but PandaCat not really had a chance to be relevant just yet, even though Ullr can usually get off to a pretty quick start.
Yeah, Panda's kind of struggled at the beginning of this year for eUnited. I mean, he got soloed by Oceans, soloed by Zapman in this game, and that's something that we're not really used to seeing. Now, that is very meta-dependent. In previous years, previous metas, it was really just hunters left alone on an island, don't really fight each other because we're both going to be level 20 soon enough anyway, so who really cares? Now a different meta. There's, you know, your damage spikes are a little bit different, how much you're going to be taking, how much you're going to be doing. You have to re-encode all of that into your brain, and PandaCat seems to have struggled with that so far early on in this season, but this dude is going to be just fine in my estimation. Yep. He's a beast on land. He's a guy who historically has had slower starts at the beginning of splits and then really turned it up towards the end. So if you're an eUnited fan, I don't think there's too much cause to worry long-term for PandaCat, but if I'm an enemy hunter playing him next week, I'm probably trying to pick something that I can take the 1v1 in.
We saw the 1v1 going the way of Benji over there in the solo lane up against Scary D, forcing him back. Scary D does have the teleport. He wants to try to get to that tier 1 tower because it's very, very low. And if a mini wave gets pushed in there, it could very easily get taken down. It looks like that is going to be what the play is for him. He's going to teleport over there and clear that wave up before he loses the tower. Scream, though, has found Zapman over here in the dual lane. Zapman's ready to box, drops the Heavenly Banner, and stands in it. Forces Mountain Archery, turns around for the damage and the slow, and is actually happy to keep on fighting. Even with PolarBearMike coming over here, he has the whole rest of Trifecta waiting in the wings. eUnited recognize and back off so they don't face the ire of Zapman.
Really, really well played there by Zapman. Just knowing that PandaCat was way too far back to be able to follow up off of Scream's initiation, and that all of his skills were down. He just used them to try and clear the wave right in front of him. The presence of mind there to hold your ground, take the boxing fight, and then try and use the mounted archery to make sure that if Scream wants to try and keep that fight going for whatever reason, one EI Jutsu stun was certain death for the Camazotz jungle.
Well played by Zapman. Not just the recognition, but the execution too. I agree. Very well. This feels like a Zapman type of meta, which I was a little bit surprised that he didn't get off to a great start in some of the other games. But now I think we're seeing a little bit more of it. In a meta where you're left alone, where you can box, where you can kind of do your thing in the duel lane. It's going to work for him. Venenu, though, gets pulled right back into the Mystic Rush. Metyankey is the one that finds that Venenu has already fallen. The Habwa 1-1-1 so far. Not quite what they were hoping for from this mid laner.
That's textbook Smite right there. You force the purification beads by putting pressure on him, hold the support ultimate, and then toss him right back into a bevy of ults. Well played there by Trifecta, who then gets a waltz right towards the Gold Fury. Benji just a hair too late to try and get around the backside and steal that away. Trifecta looking pretty clean here, Finch.
They are looking good. They won that team fight and made a clean call to go back to that Gold Fury. It's theirs. Between Metyankey and Zapman, they have so much objective damage. It's going to be it won't take a big window for them to be able to go back and get those kind of objectives like they just did. One pick, really, everyone else was healthy and ready to fight, but it still wasn't enough. Now Trifecta has a chance to take tier 1 tower in mid. Scream's here, Benji's here. They're coming right back into the middle of the fight, and their targets to go onto Metyankey, and that disapparate for him so he can get away from a little bit of damage. Bat out of hell doesn't bring him low enough. Jumps for the heal, doesn't really find it. Metyankey continuing to stay alive, trapped between 4. PandaCat eventually rotates in and does take him down.
That's a big rotation for PandaCat to just get some sort of gold out of it. Now, he might lose too much on the left-hand side, though. Zapman may be able to just push that wave under tower and take it before PandaCat's able to return, but overall, good enough engagement from eUnited in the mid lane, but you trade out a tier 1 tower for Metyankey in that situation. A little bit in eUnited's favor, I'd say, but now it opens up the door for Venenu to get dove even harder, which is the really important thing, to try and keep this Habwa on the back foot, because eventually he's going to reach critical mass and be too much to handle for Trifecta. So this is the time in the game where you really want to make him pay and try and keep him down, but already at nearly 70 stacks on that Warlock staff, Soul Gem done as well. It's going to be hard.
Pyromancer is going to be the call. Here is Scary D, but not here in time, lurking in the waters. Not going to be able to contest the objective. Goes the way of eUnited, and they're going to be able to get out of that one for free. So just like Trifecta recognized a small window they had, so did eUnited. That was a bit of a bigger window, though. Just about everyone from Trifecta had backed, really. But that recognition, even when they're behind, to still be able to make sure they start taking stuff behind, I mean, that's world champion level awareness.
Very important as well. Global Gold certainly going to help out PandaCat and Venenu and Scream even, who are all a little bit behind their opposition, whereas PBM and Benji have done a good job of staying a little bit ahead, but NeiruMah's been very unselfish with his farm, trying to make sure that Met and Zap are getting as many solo waves as possible, so that's why you see a little bit of a level disparity there. And with Scary D blinking in on that Pyromancer, it kind of, not his best steal potential. When the Pyromancer is that low, Sobek ultimate is going to take too long to go under, then you have to wait a little bit before you pop up. Just going for a Tail Whip or a Sickle Strike steal probably ups your odds a little bit, but it's almost like eUnited called the bluff there, where Sobek ult is scarier, so maybe the enemy team will back up as soon as you go underneath the waters, but eUnited just relevant enough and have been around long enough to know that we've got time to burst it down. Don't worry about it. Scary's going to waste his blink and his ultimate in that situation.
This is a big grouping in duo lane. It feels like they really do want this tier 1 tower over here. They've now got Metyankey joining NeiruMah and Zapman. Venenu's lurking as his Scream, though, so this could potentially be a problem for Met. Drops down the Supernova on top of himself, but not going to be enough. Scream up in the air and found the return damage enough to get that kill into Metyankey. Now eUnited are on the back foot. They got what they wanted, and they got out clean.
Really nice play there by Scream, and that just taking advantage of the relic timers for Trifecta. Metyankey used the Aegis to try and get into his full disapparate form. It's one of the things that makes Soul so strong, is you press 3, you press Aegis, and then you just kind of chuckle at your opposition, because you just got a ton of time where you can't be damaged. Well, Metyankey was trying to do that, but Aegis was unavailable from the last time. Scream's able to take advantage all by himself.
And that was off, once again, Trifecta being the ones who sort of positioned aggressively and were trying to force a fight over on that dual lane side. They just got out-rotated. They didn't have 4 members there the way that eUnited did, and Metyankey was the clear target focus for him. And they found it without too much issues. That tier 1 tower in dual lane continues to stand, and Scream continues to be relevant here in this game. 4-1-1 on this Camazotz. He's doing a good job on it.
Very, very good job from him so far, and Trifecta has to recognize now that Metyankey is the target focus for eUnited. Scream is going to be looking for Metyankey every single one of these fights. He's going to be the first one they try and take off the board. So Zapman needs to make sure that he's doing enough damage in these team fights to cover that. And that's fine. I mean, everyone, if you're a damage dealer, you will be focused out exclusively from time to time in a game. And that just happens to be the enemy's game plan. Try and get your damage off. Try and make them use as many cooldowns as possible. But dying is not an issue right now for Metyankey. As long as he can drop the ultimate, as long as he can do a little bit of poke damage, he's done his job. But then it's up to Zapman and the rest of Trifecta to make sure they're picking up that slack, because eUnited's going to have to, at least in theory, burn a lot in order to bring down Metyankey. So Zap's got to make sure that he's separated from Metyankey. That's the other thing, is whenever, you know, you're in comms like that, you got to say, hey, I'm getting focused. Make sure you're far away from me so we both don't get hit by the same initiation.
Mask went in aggressively, did use the blink. It's on cooldown. Zapman used the mounted archery as well, perhaps just for the slow as a bit of a way to initiate that team fight. Wasn't really what Trifecta wasn't really what they were looking for, though. Weren't able to continue that fight. Does find the pluck onto Benji. Not exactly the ones you want to bring back towards your team, though, is that Chulainn pick. PandaCat, bow form, trying to find a little bit of damage into Scary D. But again, the Sobek not really trying to stick around and take this team fight, so they'll back up. Gold Fury, though, is back up over here in this duo side.
That whole commit from Trifecta was just to try and get Venenu to use a relic to open up this Gold Fury fight for Trifecta's favor. But honestly, it just kind of put it in eUnited's favor, because Venenu, one of the most patient players with his relics, but never seems to get caught out without using them. That's one of the things that I think really separates him from other players, is how good that is for him.
Benji just got pulled back into the team, but again, at this point, the Chulainn's not really having too much of a problem with that. eUnited are the ones now who have a little bit of positioning control around this area. They have the Oracle Vision on top of it as well. So they're the ones that are pulling it. PandaCat's got it right now, and the rest of Trifecta are waiting in the wings.
eUnited's actually taking the gold lead here, so don't feel like this is Trifecta's fight to win, obviously. eUnited's right there with them. This is the first real 5v5 grouping we've seen. Benji gonna go in. Zap actually gets blinked on this time by Scream. It's Metyankey who's trying to help out his Hunter this time around, but Scream gonna take to the sky. Can't really peel away that bat out of hell, and Venenu will confirm it.
Shell kept him alive for a moment, but not long enough. Venenu is looking for a second kill here on the Mask. Gets the slow out with that carpet. NeiruMah low, Metyankey in the back trying to put in some damage on the Venenu, but it's just not enough. Lurking in the waters might be able to catch him if he can pop it in time, and it does. Scary D finds the first kill of the fight for Trifecta, 2-for-1 so far. Now he's low. PandaCat jumping in aggressively. In bow stance, didn't have the axe stun, doesn't even need it. Finds it with the in-hand. PandaCat takes down Scary D now. 3 members of Trifecta fall, and eUnited pushing down a tier 2.
I love the switch up there from eUnited, because I think Trifecta was really in the frame of mind of, okay, protect Metyankey. That's who eUnited wants. And that's how they've displayed this entire game. So eUnited sees Zapman a little bit alone, and Scream capitalizes on it. I also love this Frenzy pickup by PolarBearMike. That's what he got as a second relic at level 12. I believe he's already upgraded it as well. And Taco mentioned on the desk, it looks like Trifecta wants to go for a dive sort of composition. And to some degree, this is. But on the other side, eUnited is a full commit composition. It's once we're in, and we're either leaving in a body bag or they are. And eUnited picking up a Frenzy, upgrading it to make sure that their members have that extra pen against their opposition as well. It just kind of doubles that. If there, Venenu was able to hit multiple members with a frenzied crushing wave, and good luck having a health bar after that happens, because it's just guaranteed so much damage in that situation. I love the full commit idea from eUnited's team comp, is just let Scream blink in. Benji's going to come from a different angle. Now everyone's trying to peel back and help out against that Camazotz. Okay, now we just surge forward. PandaCat, Ven, and PBM are the cavalry to Scream and Benji right now.
25 minutes in now. Got a 4,000 gold lead going the way of eUnited. They got the kill lead too, about 2 kills out. Trifecta, though, evened it out. Metyankey came up big by getting that tier 2 tower. Scary D, though, has engaged onto Venenu, but Venenu was able to make it out of it. Mask gonna follow it up with another blink. They have decided they want to try and take out this Hobwa in this fight. Scary D was lurking in the waters. Couldn't really find much as the backline had managed to get away from him. He regroups with the rest of his team, as does eUnited.
No relics there for Venenu. That's why Scary was looking for the blink pluck. Scary found the pluck there, but onto the wrong target, because it was Casper. Scream able to grab the kill, and now it's Trifecta on the run. Just a little bit too aggressive there. And to be honest, Finch, I don't know that fight goes Trifecta's way, even if Scary hits a target.
No, I definitely agree with you. Even if he does find that pluck, he's still standing there, and he's still getting blown up, as is the Pyromancer. eUnited have decided to take down that objective for themselves. Continue to push forward. Scream, not even want to let Mask get his own speed buff, which he does, but trying to slow him down. The more important target, though, is this Fire Giant, well below half health. Coming in is NeiruMah. Trifecta gets it. He takes it away. eUnited, though, don't want to give it up for free. Zapman does find Scream in the backline. A little bit overcommitted. Sloppy objective play hurting eUnited here.
Wow, how did that happen there? I have no idea. It looks like Venenu was going to be able to confirm it with the crushing wave, but somehow that spit got in there. Unbelievable for NeiruMah. Now Benji still trying to keep the fight going, but he's going to lose his transformation pretty soon. Doesn't have his ultimate on the back end. Venenu now out of mana, has his relics available now. They've come back up, but in a lot of trouble now.
No, this feels like a bad call. They're trying to get something back after giving up that Fire Giant, but instead, they're in a difficult fight. NeiruMah has to back up, took too much damage, couldn't find any more kills off that good Trifecta, but that slows eUnited down so tremendously. Now the Fire Giant the way of Trifecta.
That's one of those situations where if you're Trifecta, you're going, okay, we got a little lucky there, but there's some justice in the universe for how many Fire Giants we have lost in the last week of SPL play to, just some crazy little ability out of nowhere. Unbelievable that Trifecta is able to steal that away, and really tough because Screammmmm is basically sacrificing himself in that situation to make sure his team gets the objective. Screammm's fine with dying there as long as his team, as long as it pops up, eUnited has slain the Fire Giant. He dies, he goes, all right, cool. Oh, someone slayed the Fire Giant. Cool, guys, good. Oh, that was, we didn't, okay, we'll talk about it later.
They are indeed going to have to talk about it later as Trifecta pushes down that duo lane. Tier 1 tower easily going to be taken for them as there's a 5-member grouping here. In fact, they can continue to push as the rest of eUnited are quite spread out on the map right now, just trying to find a little bit more farm back out, but that cannot happen, aggro. You've got to make sure that the secure... I mean, if it's just a second, like a point of 2 of damage off, I mean, that's something that you can't possibly calculate, but how do they even make it in there? It's just
Neil's able to squeak in with the big old doggo, comes through the doggy door and is able to hit the Fire Giant from a crazy angle. I don't know. It's one of those situations where, if you're going to do 900 points of damage with your ability to secure, you fire it at 1050 because your hunter's auto attack is going to do 150 right before you get there. Objective secure is one of the hardest things to do in Smite, and it really almost always falls to the mid laner to be that guy. It used to be way back when. It used to be the support's job with the Hand of the Gods, but even then you had mages who were going to be doing more than that 900 or 1200 threshold, whatever it was, way back in the day. Now you're really relying on your mages, and Venenu's ultimate, I mean, certainly more damage than Paralyzing Spit. It's one of those moments where, you miss by 100 damage, and then the support is able to come in and steal it.
Yeah, and it was such a narrow margin that I don't even know how much we can hold eUnited responsible for the damage calculation. If anything, it might have been on the zoning for NeiruMah being able to make it in there, but how much can you zone away a Cerberus, really, who can tank all that damage? You're trying to take down the objective. Either way, though, Trifecta have just about evened things up, at least the gold-wise. They took the Tier 1 and Tier 2 over in dual lane. No Tier 2 tower in mid either. Only the one in solo lane is still standing. They've defended their own as well. They have a mid-tier tower to their name, so there's still plenty of gold on the map to help these swing back and forth, but 30 minutes in, does it feel like 30 minutes? I mean, these two teams have been so evenly matched all the way along.
They really have been. And Trifecta, once they reach that full build capacity, it's going to be pretty difficult to peel away that double Guardian and the Ravana jungle away from your Habwa, away from your Ullr, whoever it may be. And if I'm on Trifecta, I'm looking at Ven the whole way. I mean, he's way above PandaCat so far in player damage. Now, PandaCat has just now reached that full build point where Venenu is still sitting on only 5 items, but mages right now feel like they're just making more impact than hunters. If I'm Trifecta, let PandaCat do what he's going to do until we have to deal with them. They'll cross that bridge when they come to it. Trying to kill Venenu is going to be the key, but you have to make sure that the fatal mistake that I see so often against Habwa is, okay, your jungler's on him, your solo laner's on him, he's dead to rights, I'm a mid laner or I'm a hunter. Let me go up and make sure that I have enough damage to help out. Oh, he just turned around and ulted me and insta-killed me. That is the worst thing that can happen. You kind of, it feels very counterintuitive at times, but as a damage dealer, you just gotta have to wish your frontliners luck and let them take care of the Habwa.
Trifecta played very patiently with that Fire Giant. They got what they could and easily confirmed the Tier 1, Tier 2 over on that dual lane side. They didn't push out any further. Poke going down to NeiruMah. Trifecta want to be here to start another fighter on the Fire Giant. They do. PolarBearMike is the one that gets pulled back in. They're able to jump back out. Now Screammmmm blinks into the backline on the Mask while NeiruMah also goes in with his own ultimate. Doesn't find anything. It's Scary D, though, who's fighting 3 members. Venenu's ultimate comes through and doesn't hit. Scary D dodges it perfectly. Metyankey drops the Supernova through the fight, and the Fire Giants been aggroed as well. NeiruMah finds the first kill of the fight. Venenu very low. Mask is low on the backside as well. Scary D continues to duke it out with Benji. Trifecta back up, though. It's 5v4.
Man, NeiruMah's been insane so far this game on this Cerberus. That stun there onto Venenu, it locks him in place to get hit by the majority of Metyankey's soul ultimate. Those extra ticks of that Supernova, but now gets caught off. The caster's curse, I suppose, in the wrong spot there. PBM actually uses his D-transformation to prevent getting plucked. Really nice play there, but may have jumped in the wrong spot. Zapman looking for the shots, can't quite find him. PandaCat will, though. His are on to Scary D, brings down the Croc once more.
Pyromancer now going to be in the sights of eUnited. PolarBearMike was able to make it out, and Trifecta here to try not to let them have this one for free. Does force a couple members back. It might be a 4v3 if you look at the kill count, but actually one member, PolarBearMike's not even here, and Trifecta able to take that Pyromancer and add it to their trophy shelf as they are 3-3.
Little surprised eUnited dropped that when they did. As soon as someone dropped a ward over the wall, Benji goes to clear it, and PandaCat was in secure range to be able to grab that alongside Screammmmm. Screammmmm thought they were securing it. He threw the vampiric bats, but PandaCat had already reset the objective. A little bit of cold feet there out of eUnited's Hunter. I feel like that could have gone eUnited's way without too much concern, but ends up kind of leaving it to a coin flip and Trifecta come up with the victory there.
This time they seem to be on the same page, though. They are going to pull this Fire Giant, and PandaCat shredding it. They have Venenu here, so they certainly have all the confirms they need. This time, the Fire Giant goes the way of eUnited without any kind of problems. Trifecta still couldn't fight into that one. They did not have everyone there. Tier 2 tower in right only needs someone to come in and basically breathe on it. That's what they're going to do, knock that one down, add a little bit more gold to their pockets. They're going to keep pushing up this lane, though. I don't know if they went to Tier 2 tower first, or if they want to try and make this siege. Looks like they're going mid.
You just want to make sure that your waves on the side lanes or wherever you aren't are pushing at the same time that you are looking to siege down a Phoenix. That's very important to put simultaneous pressure on multiple lanes so that if you win the team fight, you've got a chance to kind of waterfall it as you go. PandaCat forced to use the Aegis's Mask, used the blink, Mask up and over the wall with the Mystic Rush. PandaCat tried to hit the axe, but it's not going to matter because Scary was waiting for him as well. Trifecta find the pick on the way out. Now PolarBearMike may have gotten caught, still has that leap. Turnaround stun, pretty good, but NeiruMah's got one of his own.
What a confident call, even to the Fire Giant team. They knew what they could do here. Mask finds PolarBearMike. Benji's too low as well. They've just kind of stuck around. They can't decide if they want to full-on retreat or fight back in. Now Screammm's gone with the bat out of hell. He's going to go back into the fight and try and split a little bit of the focus, but Scary D finds the pluck, pulls Benji back in. Rooted, deleted. Mask gets credit for that one. 3 members that fall. Now Venenu goes back in with his own ultimate. Does find the water spout, but not enough for a kill there either. 4 members that fall, and Trifecta turn the Fire Giant into a curse for eUnited and turn the fight around.
Ven tries to make the hero play there where he just needs to stay alive. Now Trifecta might be able to just end this game. I mean, there's 17 seconds left on PandaCat's respawn timer. Now the problem here for Trifecta is that their tanks are low and they don't have a minion wave to tank up this Titan, but it looks like they're going to try and go for it here, Finch.
They certainly are going to make the push. Our Trifecta onto the Titan. It's at half health already. Only Screammmmm is here to try and slow this one down. I think we may have just seen them lose the game with a Fire Giant buff. Trifecta take game 1 against the world champs.
Man, that's tough. eUnited, just a little bit of a mental misstep there.
Yeah.
As Trifecta is forcing them out, they watch Screammmmm back. They hear it finish off on their left-hand side while they're watching PandaCat walk in on the right. PandaCat sees a red buff. Of course, he's going to go for it. Now that just means that Mask's able to catch up with the blink. And PolarBearMike tries to step up to save his Hunter. That gets him killed.
Yeah.
Venenu tries to save Benji. That gets Venenu killed because Benji was already dead. Just one by one, small missteps from eUnited and just not enough selfishness. It's very often that you'll see that at a competitive level where you want a team to be more selfish. Sometimes you just got to say, yo, dude, you pulled a red buff when everyone's behind you. You got to hold that, and we'll wait for you on your respawn timer instead of everyone trying to get in there and save one bad decision after another. It's an easy way to lose a game.
If they had given just one person away to the Wolves, we'd still be commentating that game right now. But we want to know who you all in chat think was the MVP, or at least I do. Remember earlier, Ryan's not particularly interested. Make sure you vote there in the chat. And Ryan, you don't get to know now. You don't get to know now. We want to hear it. Vote in the polls. We're putting it up there for you all. Let's go ahead and get back over to Hindu and Taco as well, and they'll break it down.
Thanks so much, Finch and Aggro. Lemmings. That's what I saw at the end of that game. A bunch of lemmings. But we saw a lot of steals in that game too, Taco.
A little bit of a clown fiesta on those objective secures from eUnited, and pretty unfortunate circumstances as well. I think the first Fire Giant loss was probably the most heartbreaking one because it felt as though there was absolutely no way that Trifecta was going to have any chance of contesting it, and I couldn't really get a distinct telling right away whether it was Zapman's Eagle Eye on that Hachiman one or if it was NeiruMah's Cerberus that actually managed to steal it away. But kudos to Trifecta for hanging in there despite all odds. Pretty roller coaster of emotions for that set.
It was, and here's a little replay for you guys at home, because I believe it was NeiruMah that managed to secure this for his team with the hero play of hero plays. Just as Venenu ults comes through, it wasn't good enough to secure. Wow.
That's my support.
That is a true support there. That's like old school supports too. You don't even need Hog. Like, Hand of the Gods no longer exists, except in a card game.
He was fully committed to that decision, and I respect the call there entirely. But again, eUnited just struggled time and time again to get those objective secures. Not even on the big ones. They were struggling with the Pyromancer as well. And
yeah.
it was pretty, I think, heartbreaking for eUnited to lose the first game in that fashion. Just really have to hope that they're able to bounce back, because I think that would impact them more mentally than anywhere else.
Well, even though NeiruMah stole that Fire Giant, he didn't get MVP for that game. All credit goes to the one, the only, the guy that made World of the Year. Zapman gets it with 2 kills and 1 death, 7 assists, 22,000 player damage on that Hachiman.
Not to mention,
he didn't get the pyro though.
He got a solo kill though against PandaCat, and
yeah.
I think that's what really opened up a lot of opportunities here for Trifecta. Zapman having the full-on lane pressure in duo really made a pretty significant difference. And although he got pressured out a lot on that Hachiman ultimate, I still think that the way he held onto that lead was very smart decision-making out of Zap. Normally, Zap gets a lead. We might see him throw it away from aggressive gameplay, but this time around, he wasn't trying to take any chances. He wanted to make sure that Trifecta could pull away from this one cleanly, and not to mention that by Zap getting that solo kill, Mask had a lot more freedom to place more emphasis onto Venenu, and Venenu was kind of struggling a little bit, running away from the Ravana. Mask did a great job forcing out that Habwa ultimate time and time again.
Well, interestingly enough as well, though, in that game, even though they lost the Fire Giant and Pyromancer at one point, they got the next Fire Giant Taco and then made a mistake at the red buff that cost them the game. Like, that was just a simple mistake that cost them everything by one going in trying to save each other. That's
kind of been the story of eUnited Season 5, though. It's just those small little misplays that they're kind of just waking up from a daydream to an extent.
Let them